Well, here we are on day 11, about a third of the way up to our last pass of the day from Gruben, the little town at the bottom there. And this is the valley we came down yesterday. After we get to our last pass of the day, we'll have the longest down of the trip, 5,800 feet down to St. Nicholas. From a little bit higher up now, you can see the pass that we came through yesterday on the other side of the valley, and some of the trail that we took down to get to Gruben. A little higher up, we came across a flock of black-faced sheep. And now, having come up this relatively steep section, probably about an hour higher than where I saw the sheep, somewhere down there, I have my first view of the Oxboord Pass. And there it is. You can see the notch, maybe even a little bit of trail going up to it, and the trail side at the top. Well, I'm at the top, and as you may be able to tell, it's pretty windy, but you can see the next valley that we're going into. And here's just another look back at the pass we came through and the boulder field we've just come through on our way to St. Nicholas. And from a little farther on, believe it or not, I can see all the way down to the Rhone Valley and the Bernese Alps on the north side of the Rhone. It's an amazingly clear day. Well, we just came around a bend, and it's almost impossible to describe the scene here. So I'm just going to pan across it. But it's just about unbelievable. Up and down this valley. And on the way down, we passed the little village of Jungli. And actually, I forgot to mention, this is our last valley. And in a couple of days, we'll be up at the other end of the valley in Zermatt. Well, we're now starting day 12, which is the first day of a 2-day walk to Zermatt along the Europaweg with a stop at the Europa Hut. Looking back at Gazenried, which is where we stayed last night. Okay, and about an hour later, I'm up at the top of our first rise, about 1,500 feet up. And now we have a more gradual up for a total of about 1,100 meters to the Europa Hut. Heading up valley. The Europaweg involves a lot of crossing of previous rock falls, which are common along here, as well as very narrow trails that skirt a rock face. Just to add to the excitement, I just came over this suspension bridge, which is listed to have a maximum of 4 people on it, and please remember not to swing it. And here in the middle of nowhere is the Europa Hut, our destination for the night. And on to Zermatt tomorrow. Well, day 13 was literally a wash, as we had rain pretty much all day, at least into mid-afternoon. So rather than continuing on the Europaweg, we went, hiked down to Randa and then hiked up the valley to Zermatt. So here we are on day 14, and both today and tomorrow promise to be good days. This is our first view of the Matterhorn in the clouds as we're heading up to Trockensteg. Well, I'm literally on top of the world. This is our highest elevation of the trip so far. We've taken the gondola up to Trockensteg from Fury, which was about an hour-and-a-half hike up from Zermatt. And we're now on what's called the Matterhorn Glacier Trail. And I'm just going to pan across this view, which is outstanding. got Ray here with me. He's doing the same thing I'm doing as far as getting a panorama. It's cold and windy up here. It's below freezing. Probably about 30 degrees with maybe a 10-mile-an-hour wind. Ray says it's more than 10. I'll take his word for it. And here's the Matterhorn from close up in all its glory. You can just see the hut that climbers use on the top of the ridge to the right. And it's got its own weather system. As the air moves up, it spins off clouds from the top. Well, with the conditions such as they are today, I can't resist another panoramic view. You can see Zermatt down at the bottom. And as I pan across, you now can see some of the really big glaciers in the area and the Gernogrot terminus where we will probably be tomorrow. And then coming up, right about now in the middle of the screen, you see the Steg, which was where we came up this morning. And basically my hike circumnavigated the area below the glaciers. It's called the Matterhorn Glacier Trail. Came all the way around down underneath the Matterhorn and up through this glacial moraine valley. And after a long downhill trek via Schwarze and Zermatt, we're back at the south end of Zermatt.